So let's go ahead and start off our exercise by first creating a new plugin project. So one thing that I've did is I've actually switched my perspective. One of the things you can do is head over to the top right, and then you can click the plugin development perspective like so. So that way, some of the tabs here are a little bit more relevant for what we're going to be doing. So once you've selected that plugin perspective, we're going to head over and click File up at the top left, followed by New, and then we're going to be creating a plugin project. Now again, we're going to be creating a couple plugin projects demonstrating how our OSGI bundles are able to share features amongst one another. So we're going to click Plugin Project, and to start off, the name of our first plugin project is going to be Clock-API. And from the dropdown that we have next to OSGI Framework, we're going to be selecting Standard, just as we've done before. Once we do that, go ahead and click Next. So once we click Next, we're going to change a couple of attributes here. So the first one is going to be the ID. So instead of Clock-API, the ID is going to be com.liferay.training.clock.api. And then down here for the name, we're going to make this a little bit more neat. So we're going to delete some of the text there. This is going to be clock followed by API. So I'm going to put that all in caps. Last thing we're going to do on the screen, go ahead and check the box for generate an activator, or rather uncheck it in this situation. So once we have that, next step we're going to be taking is we're going to click finish. So everything here is all squared away, all done. Okay, so we've created the API. Now what we want to do is create the interface and place it within a specific package. So let's head over to the source folder within our Clock API project, and we're going to expand it out, and we're going to see there's actually nothing to expand. So let's go ahead, we'll right click the source, head over to New, followed by Interface. What we're going to do here is create the interface and the package at the same time. So up here in package, we're going to call this com.liferay.training.clock.api. And then the name of the API or the interface is Clock API. So after that, go ahead and click Finish. And this is going to be just as what we have done before. So we're going to be creating one method here, right? So the method here is going to be public, going to be returning a string, and then the method name is going to be getTime. And so very simple interface, right? Nothing too special there. So next up, right, we need to export the package that contains this interface, right? This is the whole point of the example. So let's head over to the manifest file, and it's under the meta.inf folder. So if it's not already expanded out, go ahead and expand out the meta.inf folder, and we're going to be selecting manifest.mf. Once we're here in the manifest.mf, we're then going to be selecting the tab that says the same thing, manifest.mf. So go ahead and click on the tab, and we're going to be adding the manifest header that specifies we're exporting a package. So if you want to use autocomplete, feel free to do so. You can use Control Spacebar, but I'll type out the whole thing. So export dash package, followed by a colon, and then just specify the package that contains our interface. So com.liferay.training.clock.api. Make sure to save along the way. Right? Sometimes one of the errors that we get is just because we're not saving. So make sure to do that. For me, I'm using Control S. Feel free to click on the floppy disk up at the top left if you feel like it. So step 1 is done. Step 2, we're going to follow more or less the same instructions, just creating another OSGI bundle. So we're going to head up to File, New, followed by Plugin Project once again. Right, so second plugin project, this one is going to be for Clock Impl, so the implementation of the Clock API. So for the project name, we'll call it Clock-IMPL or Clock-Impl. And then again, for the dropdown for target platform, go ahead and select standard. Once we have that, I'll go ahead and click next. And over here in the ID, following the same pattern that we did before, the ID will be com.liferay.training.clock.impl this time around. And then for the name, I'm going to backspace a couple here, and then this is going to be clock followed by impl. All right. So make sure the activator is not checked. So all good there. And then go ahead and click finish. Now for the clock impl, in order to implement the interface, we first need to import the package that contains the interface. So over in the clock impl, we'll see the tab is already opened to help us configure the manifest file of clock impl. So we'll go ahead and click on the manifest tab, and we're just going to do a quick double check just to make sure that clock impl is indeed what's selected. So it is selected on my end. We'll then select manifest.mf, right? And then we just need to import the package. So adding a new line, feel free to use Control Spacebar if it makes things easier for you. The new manifest header, import dash package, and just specifying the package that we need to import. So just to make sure that I have the name correct, we'll expand out the clock API. So importing com Liferay training clock API. And then just to be explicit, click on the floppy disk up at the top left. And then let's go ahead and test this out. So we're going to go ahead and deploy each one of my modules, or bundles I should call them. So we'll start off backwards. I want to first deploy my clock impl. So we'll right click the clock impl, head down to run as, and then select OSGI framework. Once we select OSGI framework, I'm going to go ahead and type LB. Interestingly enough, since I deployed it, it looks like both of them deploy at the same time. So kind of caught me off guard, but that's okay. Now let's break things a little bit. And so over here in the import package, what if I try to import a package that does not exist? So as far as I know, this package should not exist. It even gives me an error saying that it cannot find a bundle that's exporting that package, but that's okay. Liferay Developer Studio, I know better than you. Let me go ahead and deploy anyways. Right, it says, hey, there's an error. You might want to check it out. That's okay. I'll go ahead and deploy. We see an exception is thrown, letting me know there's an unsolved requirement. Let's say again, I know better. I think it's fine. So when I type LB in the GoGo shell, we'll see that things are not so good. My clock impl is indeed in the installed state. So this is my indicator that whatever dependencies my clock impl needs, it cannot find it. Otherwise, it would either be in the resolved state or the active state. So let me go ahead and fix this. So I'll backspace the text that I added. We'll go ahead and deploy this one more time. Right click, run as, OSGI framework, hello world, hello. And then LB, we see it is back in the active state. So very good, very simple exercise demonstrating how export import package works and how we can kind of do a little bit of troubleshooting if things do not work.